this was our first round of 3D print with the PolyCast. We're going to use that as lost wax casting. This is the second round of parts, just like we printed in PLA. I used the same settings that I would for a generic PLA for those other prints. From what I've been told and what I've researched, you can use PLA instead of this PolyCast, which is more expensive, but the PLA will leave residue behind. We're not really creating artwork, so I guess that doesn't matter. But I wanted to experiment with this first. What I did notice when I took these first parts off is you want to try to get the supports to come off with the part. So like if it's a part like this that doesn't have excessive supports, try to get those supports to wiggle free, because it was really hard to get that first set of parts off. Like they did not want to come off. Like the parts came off fine, but the supports did not want to come off. So okay, we're going to mix up this plaster of Paris. Right now we're going to mix up a smaller amount. And that's why I'm wearing a mask. Don't want to get it on your skin either. It can irritate your skin. But we're going to do a smaller batch, but the same process. Go ahead and pour that in, and then we'll mix it in. Let's stir that stuff up, and then we'll paint it onto our surface. We're going to take and paint this stuff on. This will help reduce any air bubbles that may cause us issues. I'm going to paint it everywhere except for where I'm going to put that funnel. You can get that stuck. I left a few spots where we could stick some vents because we're going to need to vent this. But the idea is we'll pour the aluminum here. It'll go through this part, hopefully spread out enough so that it fills that up. I packed it inside those because I didn't want any air bubbles. And then we'll mix up some more plaster of Paris and we'll contain it within something, seal it off at the bottom. So create a part for casting. That's going to be one of our options. And so we need a funnel, a way to funnel in the aluminum we're going to use in the casting. Sketch, left click top plane, left click in the center, drag that out. We're going to drag that out to point. We're going to keep this solid. Let's go 1 inch. Have this as a funnel. So we're going to make that 1 inch. Let's close that out. We want it to match up to fill this part up. Let's extrude that out first. This is going to be the first part of that part. Let's make it kind of step up. So we're going to click on this. It went up 1 inch. That's fine. That's kind of what I wanted. Piece. Let's go to front view. Left click on this. Let's go X, Y, and Z. Let's move this down, because we're going to have it merge with the other part. Let's go 1 inch on the Z. Let's go -1. Let's go -1. That'll take that down. We're going to extrude this other circle because we don't want this one to add material over the other, because we wouldn't be able to see it because it's still counting it as part 21. We could do a new feature. So we could go extrude, left click on that center point circle. Now if we did new, it would be a totally different part and we'd have to combine parts. But we're making this so that these two parts are the same. That's one option. Close that out. All right, good. So I'll show you the other option here in just a second. Back into that extrude, and instead of doing add, I'm going to do new, just to show you the difference between the new one we created. Let's go left click transform, left click X, Y, and Z. Let's move that down. Let's go -0.5. There we go. Close that out. Combine those and make those apart. Left click. Actually, instead of doing that, yeah, let's do that. Let's left click on that. It'll be easier to do it this way. Close that out. So we just did a bouillon. We make a part, so that is one part now. So if we left, I'm going to manually do that. I think it'll be easier to move. Now that we've changed the part, it's not exactly 1 inch. I'm going to move that back up here, right about there. Close that out. All right, that looks good. Because I'm going to form the other part over it. All right, let's left click this. Left click sketch, left click top plane, left click center point circle, hover over the center. Let's drag that out. Let's go 2 inches for this one. Let's go back to isometric. So we'll go back to isometric view, click solid. We're going to create a new part. Could add it on if we wanted to, I think. Let's go to sketch and let's just see what that would look like. Let's do solid add so that we don't, since we've already moved that other part. Good. And that way we don't have to do another bouillon. That's kind of what I'm looking for, to funnel all that aluminum in. Easy enough. Let's go rename 1-2 inch funnel for casting. Let's right click on this. Let's go edit appearance. We don't really care the color of it. I'm just changing it up so it looks drastically different than the other parts that we made. And we'll right click on that. Export. Let's go ahead and save that. We'll bring that into our slicing software. Go File, New. Let's go File, Import. Let's find that funnel. There's our funnel, open. Let's flip it over on the larger end so we don't need any supports. Lay on face, let's lay there. I want to test this one out before I print off multiple pieces in case we don't like the way it works. Let's go preview. Let's go print plate, and then I've got to go prep that surface, and then we'll send this out to print. All right, so our funnel is done. There may be a better way of doing this. We're going to try this method out first. So there's our funnel. I think on the next experiment, I'm going to take it before I put the plaster on and glue the funnel on, because I don't want anything to get in the way. Now we're supposed to be able to use isopropyl alcohol to glue that on. I don't know if I've got this strong enough, if there's a percentage. This one's only 70%, but we'll try it. Let's do that again. Let's get some more in there. Almost out. We'll run that along that edge. So that'll allow us to pour the aluminum in with those hanging up over this funnel. At least we know the vents will be in there and it'll be able to vent back out. So as it pours here, it'll be able to come back out. On this one, let's put some down here. So I didn't have any glue sticks. So I'm just going to try it like that and see if that works. Two older pans that we don't use anymore that we were going to just throw out. Ideally, you need it to be tall enough like this one so that your funnel will be a little bit lower so that you can pour the mold all the way up to it. This one I'm still going to be close to that. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one. You can use old tin cans or anything that could encase that, but I really need a bottom for this one, and I don't have that right now. But I'm going to make one for this too. I'm going to go get a bottom and then glue that on. And that's what we'll use for these parts because they'll fit directly down in there, and that'll be perfect for us to be able to pour those in. But two different methods. This one is the one that I packed in earlier with plaster of Paris. This one we're going to mix up this perfect cast and see how that works. And we're just going to dip it in there and then brush the inside and just make sure it covers the inside and see if there's a difference between how well these cast in the different methods and the different casting material. So let's go ahead and mix up this plaster of Paris first. All right, we've got about 3 cups of plaster of Paris in here. So now we're going to mix in 1.5 cups of water, cold water. This should be just enough. I'm a little shy there. Let me go. All right, so that's the plaster of Paris. I think I put a little bit too much water in that because that was a little thinner, but it made it easier. And I'll move this into position here in just a minute. It's going to try to float, of course. All right, so I'm going to try to see if there's any more that we can pour in there. Not much else. All right, our other vent looks like it came off, but that's okay as long as we got one. And we'll try that out. And we're just kind of learning this process as we go. We're pouring these out to break that casting metal down and kind of clean it up a little bit as well and get some of the impurities out of it. But I'm just learning how to do this. So we're going to go ahead and get this process started. What I found is because that crucible is so large that it's really hard for me to tilt it up with the tool that I have. But we're going to, this one's ready to use. Place it here in the center. And then we're going to turn on our bottle and get that lit and then slowly heat up. Because I've blown the top off this thing when that crucible was hot. I had the top still on. Turned that on, I was going to go light it. But when I turned that gas on, it blew the top off. All right, we're going to heat that thing up nice and slow, just get it a little warm, and then we'll turn it red hot. We're using the crucible, or even what you're going to cast the ingot in. You want to heat it up to 500 degrees, and then let it cool for about 5 minutes. Both of these, to cook off the moisture so they don't crack. I've already done that one with this one, so I'm about ready to go ahead and turn it up. So you can see the crucible is turning red hot. I can see from here that the aluminum has already started to melt. You do not want to be anywhere up over that hole, even close to it. So I think I'm maxed out right now. Oh no, I can go a little higher. It takes, once you kind of get everything heated up, but once you turn it up, it took about 5 minutes to melt that size piece of aluminum. All right, let's look here. Oh yeah, that thing's red hot now. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off, and we're gonna skim off some of that stuff. Again, this is super duper hot. You don't want to be anywhere near it. And you've got time. Once you get that crucible hot, it'll maintain that heat, especially a large crucible like this. That's one advantage. All right, I want to look in there and see what I can skim off. Let's do it. You'll feel that heat. Oh yeah, we got some. So this is some of the chrome that was on those rims. So what I'm going to do is try to skim a lot of that off. So the next time we melt it down, we'll slowly but surely get some more and more of those impurities out. So I'm using this to kind of prop that, and I'm going to move this towards it so that I can get a good even pour with this large ass crucible. All right, there's that one. Place that back inside so it doesn't cool off too fast. So I definitely want a face shield and an apron in case I ever get any kind of splashback or it splatters on me or what have you. I think we'll be able to get one more out of this. All right, let's get our tools here, get those ready. Make sure that'll grip down. I'm gonna have to clean that out again. We're gonna take that off. We're gonna do a little skimming. Yeah, there's a lot to skim there. And I think we'll be able to get one more. I mean, this will be the last one of that. Like I can feel the heat just from getting that close through my gloves. So I don't think there's enough left in that crucible to justify doing another one. I'm gonna go ahead and put the top back on because I don't want that crucible to cool down too quickly and crack. So we'll leave that there. We'll let all these cool down. Once these cool down, they'll shrink down enough and you can pop those out. This one over here that we did first, may have shrunk down enough to flip it over. It is still super duper hot though. Yeah. See, and those will slide out. I'm gonna leave that over here and let it cool.